Welcome to a special edition for our Global Dialogues with Abhinav. Today, we aren't just looking at a trade deal. We are looking at the end of a diplomatic marathon. Think about this. Since 2010, India and New Zealand have been at the table. That is, 10 rounds of talks, 3 different Indian governments and 4 New Zealand Prime Ministers later. Finally, we have the 2026 FTA or Free Trade Agreement. Why did it take 16 years? Why did the breakthrough happen now, in the shadow of a shifting global order? And most importantly, how did India manage to open the New Zealand market without hurting a single Indian dairy farmer? Let's get into the specific. Welcome to Global Dialogues with Abhinav. When we say zero duty, we aren't just talking about a few percentage points. We are talking about the complete removal of the 10% peak tariff the New Zealand used to slap on Indian goods. If you are an exporter in Coimbatore, the Manchester of South India, this is your moment. Currently, India holds only 4% of New Zealand apparel market, trailing behind the China. But with this FTA, 8,284 tariff lines have gone to zero. This includes knitted garments, which is the biggest export to New Zealand, and now the 10% cheaper to land. Home textiles, which is curtains and bedspreads from Tamil Nadu, now have a massive price advantage. How about gems and jewellery? For the giants in Surat, you now have a 2.5% advantage over the competitors. We expect exports here to triple by 2029. The engineering goods. It's not just a fabric, it's a machines. Our auto components are now duty-free, making Indian engineering as competitive as anything in Southeast Asia. But wait, the trade isn't just about what we sell, it's about what we learn. New Zealand is bringing something India desperately needs, the Agri-Tech. Think of this as a technology transfer agreement disguised as a trade deal. New Zealand is setting up a specialized centers of excellence for apples, kiwi fruit and honey across India. The goal: to teach our farmers how to increase the yields using world-leading orchard management. Now, for those who are worried about our local growers, we have used a safety valve called a tariff rate quota. We only allow New Zealand produce it at a lower rate if they meet their tech transfer milestones. It's a work for access model. We upgrade our farms while they get limited market entry. Here is the kicker. New Zealand has committed 20 billion over the next 15 years of Indian infrastructure. This is a strategic alignment. While the world de-risk from China, New Zealand has chosen India as its primary southern partner. But what about the dairy? This was the deal breaker for 16 years. To reach this agreement, India used a negative list strategy. Liquid milk, butter and powder are excluded. They still face tariff as high as 60%. The high value loophole. India opened a tiny window for things that don't compete with the armed army's milk, like sheep milk for luxury infant formula and gourmet cheeses that cost 5,000 a kilo. The secret clause. There is also a re-export mechanism. The New Zealand can send bulk dairy ingredients to India duty-free only if they are processed in Indian factories and shipped out to their other countries. We get the jobs, our domestic partners stays protected. For Global Dialogues with Abhinav, the movement of the people is the ultimate soft power. In 2026, over 40,000 Indians live in New Zealand. That is 8% of their population. Under this free trade agreement, the New Zealand has carved out of a skilled entry pathway for 5,000 Indian professionals in healthcare. But the real breakthrough? The traditional knowledge visa. For the first time in Western free trade agreement, Ayurveda practitioners, yoga instructors and Indian chefs have a formal visa category. This treats an Ayurveda degree with the same professional respect as a Western medical degree. This is India's exporting its way of life and getting the world to recognize it legally. We cannot talk about the Indo-Pacific without addressing the dragon in the room. Historically, New Zealand was tethered to China, but in 2026, we are witnessing a historical pivot. The Wellington realized that relying on one market is dangerous. By signing this deal, they are looking for a democratic, rules-based alternative. India is stepping into a fill of $2 billion gap in pharmaceutical and IT. This isn't just a trade, it's a friendshoring. As we look into these numbers, we have to ask, what does this mean for India's seat at high table? Critics used to call India protectionist, but the deal proves we can lead the global south by example. We aren't just asking for a permanent seat at United Nations Security Council because of our population. We are earning it through our economical statecraft. This free trade agreement is the India model trade that protects the poorest while empowering the brightest. So I want to hear from you. Is this the exact template India should take to European Union and US the next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you believe in India's global rise and want to stay updated, hit that subscribe button. I'm Abhinav. This is for Global Dialogues with Abhinav. Let's take this conversation to the world. Thank you so much for watching.